4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, welcome to the program, folks. October the 29th. Here with the Editor-in-Chief live with This Is Oil, your multi-ingredients, omega-3 health engaging supplements backed by thousands of satisfied customers. 6 supplements in 1 capsule supports joint, heart and brain health. Take as directed, read the label. About Health Auckland.
Duncan Garner, live.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Duncan Garner. Welcome. Send us in your thoughts and your comments. All details are on screen there. He is possibly our brightest ever export, the very best of our best and brightest, who has left New Zealand to set up a business overseas. But Jamie Beaton is different. The boy brought up by a solo mum in East Auckland has been on the front page of the Wall Street Journal just recently, and the headline says he can get your 11-year-old into Harvard. They're actually not wrong. Jamie, at 29, is the founder and CEO of Crimson Education in New York, the billion-dollar company teaching the best of the best students online across 55 countries. Almost 70% have gone on to be accepted into the world's top 30 universities. It's amazing stuff. He has 9 degrees and a PhD, and he founded his business at just age 18. Who is he? What drives him? And why does he want to lift the standard of education amongst our young people? And why is he calling out New Zealand? Let's go.
Duncan Garner,
Welcome to the
live.
podcast. Thank you so much for your time.
Real pleasure to be on with you today.
Hey, what was it that drove you? Just take me all the way back. I mean, we'll talk about your business shortly, but what education? How many degrees have you got?
I've got 9 right now.
9 right now, which sounds like you might have more in the future. What drove you? What drove you to become so interested in education? Obviously, you're smart, but you need drive as well. So, what was it?
It was actually my mum. So growing up, she was really clear that education was the most powerful way that I could unlock, whatever goals I had in business, for our family. And she made it very clear that in her life, education had really transformed opportunity for her. She created her own company. She went to the University of Auckland. She did a MBA degree, law degree, commerce degree. Her father had moved from Scotland to New Zealand. He dropped out of high school, and he was a very sharp guy, loves reading, but experienced what it was like to go through a lot of really tough jobs that didn't really require much education. She saw the benefits of studying and then really passed the mantle to me. So from a young age, I was really passionate about education. She was taking me off to NumberWorks when I was 5, and then I really enjoyed it at school. It was good fun. It became almost like a sport to me. Yeah. And then when I was about 13, I got the idea of applying to these overseas schools from a classmate of mine, Ben, who'd gotten into Yale. And that kind of began to be my major goal. But yeah, I'd say early age, my mum was pivotal in that passion for education.
And I think it can get quite addictive too, isn't it? You can get into that zone where, you sign up to do this course, you're doing this, and you just keep going because it gets addictive and gets infectious, doesn't it?
I couldn't agree more. And I would say I'm definitely addicted at this point. And, I'm really curious. And I think I just always hope for a young person, they just find an academic arena they get curious and pumped about. They're just thrilled to learn more about. And, the more domains that you're across and excited by, I think the more engaging life is. So I've certainly had that curiosity bubbling for a long time. And it's something that I really try and foster in my students around the world.
So you've got students around the world, you've got your online college and everything. What is it do you claim that you can get an 11-year-old into Harvard? So you're the guy that if you want your kids to go to Harvard or to Yale, then go and see Jamie, jump online, get involved in his online college. Is that what you say?
So the Wall Street Journal in that article, I think you're referencing,
yes.
They went for a pretty juicy headline. But to be precise, we've trained over 1,000 students that have gained admission to the Ivy League schools. We've sent more kids to these top universities than anyone else globally. And we've sent about 40 kids to Stanford just last year, about 300 kids to Oxford and Cambridge. So we do have the best track record at training you to get into these, amazing universities. And also we began in New Zealand. So, a good 200 of these students are Kiwis that have come through Crimson, have gone off to these amazing schools and are now actually building their career on the world stage.
Yes.
So, if you want to aim for ambitious educational pathways and you're thinking about amazing careers at companies like a Tesla or an Amazon or doing your own company, which many of our alumni are doing, we're a great platform to realize that ambition.
How hard is it how smart do you have to be to get into these universities? So to go to your college is one thing, but to go to the next step, and you've got almost 70% success rate in conversion, how smart do you have to be? Do you talk to New Zealand kids here? What do they have to do? How smart do they have to be? How does their attitude have to be? What sort of person are they?
So actually, this is not about IQ. This is about work ethic. It's about hunger. And it's been a bit of strategy and time management. To go into these great universities, like, for example, Stanford. And I think about, for example, somebody like Amay. He grew up in New Zealand. He went to Stanford. He now works for Uber, and then actually recently raised several million to build his own AI company in Silicon Valley. So he was a Kiwi boy, has gone on this crazy ride over the last 7, 8 years. He's been working hard since he was about 13, and he had that spark and that passion where he saw that academics are a pathway through to opportunity. So you don't need to be an amazing student to begin with. When you're 10, 11, 12, you want to start building those foundations in math and English, but you want to make sure that as you're hitting those high school years, you realize that actually those grades, those exams, those foundations are critical. And it's more about actually time management, getting your NCA or A levels done, hitting the SAT, getting those extracurriculars sorted, building some good leadership skills, writing those application essays, putting in those financial aid applications. It's much more of a multi-year marathon than some sort of IQ test.
Yes, but it is. You talk about time management. It's that. It's attitude. It's aptitude. It's commitment. It's such basic principles, but principles that in many ways I think we're losing or we're being challenged with at the moment in our schooling system. School should be difficult at times. It should be hard. It shouldn't just be cruisy. I worry that our system here is fun, perhaps, for kids, but not that testing of them, not that challenging. I don't know. What are your views on that?
It makes me sad. I think as a country in New Zealand, we need to have an education system that really equips our Kiwis to compete on the world stage. Today, we've got a national curriculum that really is a mess compared to, Cambridge A levels or the IB or the American AP. And this is not an opinion. This is, seeing thousands of kids and also hundreds of Kiwis competing, and the kind of concepts they learn coming out of, say, NCA biology and chemistry and even physics, comparing the rigor of NCA math to A level or IB math, seeing the quality of students in, say, a Singapore or a Korea or a China versus a Kiwi doing math, there is some big gaps there, and it isn't the fault of our kids. It's a curriculum that is slack. It is a culture that doesn't really cherish academic excellence as much, and also even the basics like making sure kids are going to school, making sure there's rigorous homework, making sure there's regular assessment, and actually kids are feeling the pressure of having to study for an assessment, perform on the day, turn up, feel that, environment, get a good result, and go through that cycle. That enforces discipline and great conduct. And I think, we are sadly losing that in many parts of New Zealand, and it's critical for our nation's future.
See, I think it's really important for someone like you to say that, and you've thought long and hard about this, and you've looked at us, and you've looked at around the world. You don't say that lightly. You're not saying that just because you can. You're saying that because it's true, and I share your concerns as a parent, who looks closely at academic work. And I wonder if we every year that goes by, I wonder if we fall behind a bit further every year. I look at some of these numbers, and we don't seem to be going up. The gap seems to be widening, Jamie.
It is at both the high school and the university level. You're seeing slippage in some of the university rankings in New Zealand, but you're also seeing, really horrific truancy rates across the high schools. You're seeing also lots of students that aren't actually getting university entrance. And here's the sad thing. In New Zealand, the university entrance standards are actually very low. It's actually quite easy compared to global standards to get into many of these programs, but still there is a low entrance rate for many of particularly low decile schools across the country. So it is tough, and you are seeing slippage. And actually, to address the slippage, you're seeing more mediocrity. Rather than actually raising standards, leveling up the nation, you're seeing, actually, let's make it easier and try and make it easier to get through. But that actually messes with the whole system, and you kind of mess with the core incentives of rigorous testing, rigorous entry standards. Why the US works well is you've got a series of universities that have great results for their graduates. You have an admissions process that is rigorous and challenging and actually incentivizes a 13-year-old to leave Call of Duty and instead focus for 4 or 5 years on building out their academics and extracurriculars. And so you've got kids that are working hard in high school with big ambitions, going to great universities, and you don't have the system where it's sort of participation trophies, which ultimately hurts everybody.
Do you have parents come to you and say, right, here's our son or here's our daughter, we want to get them into Harvard, Yale, what do we do? You're a man. Can you get them there? Are the parents desperate to get their kids there, and is it so competitive in that sense?
Yeah, great question. So over the last 30 years, these universities have seen 5 times as many applicants, going to them. Last year, all the Kiwis from New Zealand that went to Harvard for academics, we trained. In a given year, about 70% of New Zealanders that go to the Ivy League Crimson trains. And I would say the good thing about New Zealand is we aren't so results obsessed only. In some countries, it's too far. There's a real obsession about the outcome only. Crimson's really about the process. It's about training you for academics, extracurriculars, but also your leadership skills, communication skills, finding that intrinsic passion that actually fuels you as a student and makes you want to go to school, which our students have. And now, of course, that leads to great results. And so families ultimately come to Crimson because they want a pathway through to the world's best schools, but they also want, a more comprehensive education with more global standards, and also skill sets that equip you to thrive, on the world stage. Now, the good thing is, it's not like our Kiwi kids can't do it. We've got boys like Lucas Lee from Pakuranga that are now working at private equity on Wall Street in America. We're seeing kids like Zong, grew up in Auckland, who's had a career at Tesla, at Waymo, now he's at MIT. So Kiwi kids can compete on the world stage, but they need to have that rigorous education every step of the way, whatever is giving them that.
So your business, Crimson, and your online college, do you pinch yourself and now and go, wow, I'm 29 and I've got this supposed billion dollar business. Here I am on Wall Street. I'm on the front of the Wall Street Journal. Is this something that you always wanted, or was it just happened, or how have you made it happen?
I mentor a lot of young founders, I guess younger than me, my Crimson students that are coming out of college and launching their businesses. And what I say to them is simple, if you find a domain as an entrepreneur that you deeply believe in, and I call it, mission versus mercenary entrepreneurship.
Yes.
You've got folks who just want to make dollars in business, and I would say they're more the mercenary category. Then you've got folks that are very mission orientated. For me, since I was 3, I loved education. And so what I've done basically for 11 years since I finished high school is I've been, mentoring kids and growing Crimson and focusing on what delivers student outcomes and looking at insights from, Wall Street and Silicon Valley and these competitive education environments and trying to continuously build a better and better education system for our Crimson kids. And, that's compounded really well. So, honestly, I could never have expected some of the results, but I think it does show the compounding value of giving families and students what they really want and sort of ignoring the conventional wisdom around, what's okay, what works, and focusing on, really what delivers outcomes. And, that's led to a good amount of success for Crimson, but also more importantly, for our students around the world.
And that's what I like about charter schools too. I know I think you're a believer of charter schools. I'm a big fan of them. I think that there's a real place for them. I know we get a lot of pushback in New Zealand. I just ignore them. I think you need charter schools. I think you need a whole section of different educational offerings, to be honest, and charter schools are one of them. We need more charter schools. The fact that we've had them, then we've dropped them, then we've had them again, it's disappointing, but at least they're coming back.
Here in New York, I'm on the board of this thing called the Tiger Foundation, which gives a lot of grants to charities, particularly charter schools around New York. And I've studied charter schools deeply in America. In New York City, there are charter schools in Brooklyn, in Harlem, in Queens that have campuses that make our best private schools in New Zealand, look like a third world school. Yeah. Some of these charter schools, they have incredible outcomes. They've got rigorous teaching, rigorous testing, great academics. I think about charter schools like KIPP or Success Academy or Icon Academies. These schools are really strong. And, to me, if you have a system where there's literally no competition, where a school will always be popular because people live nearby and they've got no choice in the matter, there's no alternatives whatsoever, it's crazy. Obviously, you need to have some choice. You need to give parents the empowerment to be able to choose. And, parents want their kids to do well. So having, families be able to actually say, hey, here's a charter school that's interesting. Here's some public schools that I could choose from. And actually look at the results. You look at the teachers. You see how engaged the students are, the environment, and you make a decision. That's very empowering. You don't want a system anywhere, where you're just forced into something, because that can create cycles of inequity and perpetuate, a problem.
Well, a self-fulfilling prophecy can be failure. You can just have, they present failure and you walk into failure. You're not looking at the options. You need choice. That's the greatest thing about charter schools, and they're all different. They're all a bit different, and it's a small trial here. We're doing up to 50. I think it's exciting, to be honest. I think it's exciting to have an offering to parents so they can think about it. I'm not sure we think about education enough in this country.
I couldn't agree more. And let me just say, if a charter school is bad, and some of them will be, they just close and families don't go. So you've got a very natural corrective mechanism for mediocrity. And, if the charter school is popular, it will grow and it will have a good track record. What you want to have often in education is transparency. So Obama released really good transparency in the US around university outcomes, because there were some bad universities delivering bad outcomes. And he wanted to show, hey, what's the student debt you leave with? What's graduating outcomes? What's the 4-year, 6-year graduation rates? All these stats to help parents make informed choices. the challenge in education is it's hard to audit the quality of a product. It's hard for you to look at a school and know how good is it? How is the sausage made? You look at outcomes like the graduates and stuff, but the more transparency in outcomes and then the more choice and competition, often the better. And this isn't rocket science. If you don't have any competition, you're not going to try as hard
Exactly.
as if there's actually some alternatives and there's actually some skin in the game if you do badly.
I wonder if there are a lot of students here who end up with a lot of debt, Jamie, but they're walking away with degrees that are questionable at best, are half useful if you're lucky. Around some of the sort of basic and general arts. I went to a graduation recently with my daughter, and I just listening to some of these degrees, and I thought, how useful is this in today's world? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought we're pumping all these kids out. Where are the jobs? Where's the industry?
I think you see this a lot, and even some of the most popular degrees like law and commerce. Think about how many law grads get pumped out, and many of these folks start on salaries that are 50, 60, or rather probably 60K NZD these days. More like 50 when I was graduating from high school, but pretty mild salaries to begin with. Now, some of them ramp up, but there is a lot of graduates coming out, and there is, few graduates in fields like, computer science and really applied fields that directly hit what the market needs right now. Folks with deep machine learning skills and artificial intelligence. I'm a big fan of the role of art and music in society, but, should you have huge funding for example, BAs and, English literature, at least you need to disclose to the student what graduating outcomes are being achieved. If they want to choose that degree, be my guest, but they need to understand what's on the other side. And you can't just sort of give them hope, right? People need data on what are the graduates achieving, what are their salaries, what's their earning options, and how much debt do they actually take on, and how they're looking. And the problem with a lot of universities is the student enrolls in the degree and they can't tell you sort of what the outcomes look like on the other side. The more you close that loop, the more people can make rational decisions. But yeah, in general, we need more engineers, we need more data scientists, we need more aeronautical engineers to work at Rocket Lab, we need more AI folks. And we probably don't need as much focus on, fluffy humanities subjects. And I say this as someone who loves English literature. And, I love, art history and humanities. But we need some more market-orientated degree choices for our graduates.
I'm with you on this too, because I've majored in journalism, and this is my career. But in saying that, the world's changed as well, and we've seen that. And you have to be so much smarter across a different spectrum. Stuff that we never knew existed 20 years ago, and exists now. Stuff we don't know that's going to exist in 2 years' time. We don't know what the future is, but we know it's going to be exciting. We know it's moving really quickly and it's fluid. What would you do if you were to advise someone today what to train in, or what to study in, or what to graduate in? What would it be?
So our probably most ambitious young folks, I think about Kiwis like, for example, that boy in May, or this guy Thomas Jung. These students are at Stanford, thinking about Silicon Valley innovation. What comes next? What they're studying is usually machine learning, statistics, computer science, math, data science, with some humanities in there, with some skills in public speaking, a bit of writing. And one of the benefits actually of this liberal arts model in the US is you don't just do only one thing in your whole degree. There's actually a bit of exposure. So your graduates come out well-rounded. They've got writing skills, they can communicate, but they've also got some, strong functional STEM skills. So that's not for everyone. And there are many, many amazing other pathways. But I think if you were to tell me, if I had a student who was interest agnostic and they wanted to, acquire some skills to really thrive in the economy, right now, they're probably the hottest skills on the planet.
So that you mean someone, if you say someone's agnostic, you mean that they're not committed to anything, but they're discommitted?
Yeah. If you've got an ambitious person,
yes,
and they don't know what they want to do, but they want to ask the question, what do I need to study to have an amazing career? I would push them towards, AI, computer science, math, finance, econ, this kind of field. Right now is really exciting.
It is exciting, and it's also it's early days in its infancy, but there's so much to be. There's so much more to come, and I like your answer. I like what you've said, Jamie. What is it you want to achieve, and what more can you achieve? You're 29. Congratulations on a wonderful career so far, and all your success. What is it you want to achieve now? Is there something? Is there another? I mean, you're obviously a guy that never sits still. You've always got an ambition and a goal, a new goal and an aim, and I think that's fantastic and wonderful. What's next?
So certainly, as a Kiwi, for 11 years we've helped many of the most ambitious kids on the planet getting into these amazing schools and now top careers. Many of our graduates are now at the Teslas, the SpaceXs, the Amazons, NASA JPL labs, working at Goldman Sachs on Wall Street. Entrepreneurs from Hamilton that have now gone to Harvard and have, built amazing companies. But what I really care about as a Kiwi is making sure that the lessons we've learned from this global education model are applied to New Zealand. So whatever I can do through Crimson's infrastructure and beyond also to level up the education system, that's really what I'm obsessed about. I think the national curriculum, that needs to take a look. I think the teacher shortages, for example, in math and STEM are really quite painful right now. And even the local universities, there's a lot that can be done to make them more globally competitive. So whatever we can do in the Crimson world to help fix some of those challenges, and make sure that more and more Kiwis at least are having a competitive education system, the better. We're really interested in the charter schooling, flexibility opening up as well. And so that's certainly of interest. I'm also really focused on our unit Numberworks. Numberworks, household tutoring brand, is a part of Crimson's education group. And Numberworks has been a great solution to Kiwis that are struggling with math and English across the country. As far as other things that I'm focused on, right now, we're really pushing Crimson in North America. It's growing really fast. It's very popular with these ambitious parents across the nation. So we're doing a lot of, events across California and New York and Texas and stuff. And we've really become the platform of choice for these folks to go from these different states to America's best schools. So I'm in the States right now, heavily focused on that opportunity. There's some things on my mind at the moment.
Just follow a question. Has the government or New Zealand Education Department or Ministry or any officials here, has anyone reached out to you for your advice? Have they asked you questions? Have they asked if you want to be involved? Has anyone officially, not so much me, but officially in the game reached out to you?
Yes, definitely. And we've had, both myself individually and our team, great dialogue with some of the folks in the ministry and other stakeholders. And, we want to make sure, of course, any insight we have, we pass through. And we'll always look for more ways to get engaged because, it'd be crazy for us to be out there, training the best and brightest kids in Singapore and Korea and China and, New York and, not having Kiwis benefit from those insights. So we're trying to get as plugged in as possible. I've been very excited about Crimson Global Academy because for a long time, we've been focused on the college admissions, sending kids from high school to these top universities abroad. CGA, our online school, actually broadens the number of Kiwis that can access this kind of rigorous education. And hopefully we can find more ways to kind of broaden that even further. But yeah, definitely. And I would say, testament to, both sides of the political aisle. We've had great engagement, across the aisle with, different education stakeholders. And, I think people are really focused on solving the current education crisis and are looking for answers and looking for help and looking for input. Even if they don't agree with everything. And
that's right. They don't have to agree, but they just have to realise that this is for the national good, for the public good and the national good. Congratulations. The boy from East Auckland. You're from East Auckland, weren't you?
I grew up in Glendowie.
In Glendowie. Wow, well done. Hey, congratulations. Thank you for making time for us, Amy. We're gonna run this tonight on our podcast. So thank you so much. You're a rock star of education.
Yes.
Thank you so much. All the very best.
Thanks, Duncan. Have a good one.
Okay, take care, mate. Ta-da.
Bye-bye.
Duncan Garner, live.
Okay, he is bright. 9 degrees and a PhD in the last 11 years, and he's set up his own billion-dollar business as well. Boys, this puts all of us to shame. How many degrees have we got between us? Have we,
one and not a very good one.
What have you got?
Hey, it's a good one.
Have you got communications?
Yeah, degree in broadcasting.
Are they giving them away now?
Bachelor of Communications. Hey. We did our time. We spent the money.
Oh, I did that too.
Yeah.
That's pretty... Yeah.
Well, he's got 9. How can you compete with that, right?
9 and 10 years.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Right. He's doing multiple degrees at the same time in a PhD and sets up a multi-billion-dollar business.
I wonder how many he's got currently going on right now.
He's got the degrees. They're done.
I know, but
is he getting more?
He said it like he was getting more.
He said he's currently got 9
right now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like sort of putting chops on your plate,
Yeah.
I get another one of those.
Yeah.
My God. Okay, so do you feel a bit dumb? I mean, I don't feel dumb, but I feel
I've
so
seen his ads everywhere
Yeah,
for
he's brilliant.
his Crimson business.
This is Forrester. Forrester's back today. It's Tuesday.
Hello.
Yeah. He's a Tuesday man.
Yeah, just Tuesdays.
Yeah.
And
did you think I was a pleb before when I came out and asked you how do I get rid of this on the screen and you just pressed it?
No, I mean it's
yeah.
not the most
Maybe if
intuitive
you'd
thing.
gotten 2 degrees, you would have been able to figure that out yourself, Duncan. Just no one's safe.
Yeah, Lockie, he's supposed to stay quiet, mate. Okay, right, I'm moving on.
3 questions from the editor-in-chief. 1.
At number 1 today, which Kiwi had no respect for their more senior opposition at the weekend? Liam Lawson, who flipped the bird to an opposing driver after winning a tough one-on-one duel. In only his second Formula 1 race of the year, no respect for reputation. Lawson has attitude, he has aggression and all the ability in the world to go on and not be just be competitive, but a Formula 1 winner. He may not have made friends with all the other drivers over the past weekend, but this isn't speed dating and seeing who becomes your mate. They're the enemy, and Lawson appears to be hard-nosed as well as bloody good, so good on him. At number 2, where have the forestry jobs gone and who's hurting? The jobs have gone because we now plant trees for carbon credits. So we now plant the trees, not to harvest, we just plant them to get the credits, so the jobs are no longer there. And what's the impact on a small town like Kaikoui in the north? Well, I was there over the weekend, the downstream effects are everywhere, not just jobs, but businesses are struggling, all the add-on jobs, the contractors, the engineers who fix the breakages, the guys who provide the food. Like Len's Pies are down $1,000 a day due to the forestry workers no longer stopping in for breakfast and dinner on the way to and from work. That's horrific. At number 3, why can't they fix Northland's roads? It's utterly shameful and disgraceful the way Northland gets treated. There are year-old potholes, there are big washouts and one-lane systems dominate Northland. I'd stop paying tax. I mean, what on earth do they get back? I'd just stop paying tax.
Duncan Garner, live.
Have you guys been up north? Has anyone been up north recently and driven on the roads there? Oh, you guys don't drive, that's right. Have you been on a bus
was up
up
there
north?
Today.
You were up Northland? Where were you?
Yeah, I was in Whangarei.
Oh, yeah, but the road, I'm talking about further north, around the
north,
Mangumukas and stuff. It's just terrible.
No, not recently.
Duncan, I've got a BA in education, taught at a high school for about 6 years in Gizzy, till COVID. Yeah. Our standard in schools, compared to what other kids are learning around, like Singapore, we are paupers. Our NCA is easy. How easy was NCA? I mean, you guys were there recently. How easy was NCA?
NCA was obviously you had to put in some work, but he is right that it's significantly easier to pass NCA than it is a whole lot of other stuff.
I've got a good tale for you. I did NCA for maths because I thought that I wasn't going to pass my Cambridge, which I was doing for all my other subjects.
Yes.
And in Cambridge maths, I got 5%, and in NCA, I got like exactly 100.
Oh, no.
Yeah, for the same year group and the same year level and everything.
So Cambridge is hard, is it? Cambridge is tough.
Cambridge is tough, sure, but doesn't that like if I'm working at the same level in the same year group,
5% you got.
5% versus 100, you know?
You got 5% in Cambridge.
I did.
Yeah, I want to focus on that too. Are you? I mean,
I did well in all my other
you're
stuff.
now working in engineering here at MediaWorks.
Yeah.
Is this why nothing worked for the first 6 weeks?
Yeah, exactly.
Eh? I mean, but you got 100% NCA. I mean, they give it away.
Yeah, so they gave me 70% of the exam because they said, this is all the credits you need to pass. Here's like this.
Oh, they didn't give you the full exam?
No, they didn't give me the full exam. But they so I was meant to do 70%, and they left in 30% of the paper, which I did. So I got above 100% on the exam. Like, I was marked. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it works, but...
Well, it clearly works.
Yeah.
Doesn't you have to work that hard at all?
All I'm hearing is that you failed.
Yeah, all I heard was 5%. Yeah. I bet you didn't put that in your CV. I bet you didn't put that in your CV when you got the job, eh? Hey, I should be paid more. Yes, 5%, Mr. 5%. Yeah, I got 43. Excuse me, miss. 43. And I went back to get it rounded up, and I think they took it down.
Oh.
Yeah, right.
It's the Slam Dunk.
Okay, so I was listening to the All Blacks assistant coach Scott Hansen be interviewed by JK, Sir John Kirwan, the other night, and it dawned on me that he had no idea what he was talking about. Not JK, this guy Hansen. He stumbled into the most unfortunate corporate speak and continued to repeat phrase after phrase of utter full, frank and meaningless bullshit until I couldn't bear it any longer and I switched off. But before then, I understood he was coaching a very special group of men that we've assembled and will take learnings from tonight and learnings all tour, but tonight for periods they were outstanding, our men, which we will focus on and challenge this whole group to strive for 80 minutes, which is paramount, and in the end we will judge our performance and utilise it in an advantageous way, so the learnings, which we as a group will always look to better ourselves. I mean, this is a group of special men, or special young men, heading to the Northern Hemisphere for the first time, and as a group, we're a happy group, and that's the fundamental takeaway that I, Scott Hansen, as a new coach at this level, must accept, and Scott has, up until now, not been a test coach, but he is now, of course, and he's up to speed with the requirements both on and off the field. And we're consistently, as I say, JK, say, looking for a better and more consistent preparation period, which is key to this group of men and how they ready and steady themselves for the many challenges that lie await. And I've also come up to speed quickly and now understand what is required by me at this test level. I'm entirely comfortable in the cauldron of test football, as you can see, by my use of these learnings, which I'm now rolling out easily as I avoid all real meaning and giving thought to any real answers. But I rolled out corporate jargon, which is what people do, when they know absolutely nothing about the subject they're actually gassing on about. I had a boss once who harped on about gassing it and blowing smoke into the lungs and closing the door on it. The sooner he joined the corporate world, the better. But the Aussies are onto this, and they say it's used by people who seem smarter than they really are. The most used phrases are reinvent the wheel. So when you hear that, you know they're speaking crap. Hit the ground running. Who hits the ground running? Moving forward, which we'll do shortly. Low-hanging fruit, which we don't pick in New Zealand. Blue sky thinking, which is better than miserable. Get me a bucket, man. This is best practice. It's in the loop, isn't it? So I hope the slam dunk finds you well, but I just wanted to bring you into the loop rather than reinvent the wheel. However, there'll be a bit of circling back as we pick through the low-hanging fruit as we move forward. You get the picture, don't you? Watch out. These guys are bullshitting you.
Duncan Garner, live.
Do you know what I mean, though, guys? Do you get, just if we can just maybe touch base on this.
Oh, yeah, it's classic, eh?
Isn't it, though?
It's real classic.
But in Australia, apparently it's gone wild. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Just circling back on this.
I do love a good corporate email.
Oh, but they don't meet. But can we have a conversation about the future of your job, please? A conversation.
Yeah.
Schedule a meeting and put it in my calendar.
Why do people put stuff in my calendar? I don't even know how to open it. I mean,
I feel like that's kind of on you, Duncan.
Yeah, maybe it's on me. But what I'll do is I'll circle back. And we've got the I's and T's and we'll go forward from there. But if we can have a conversation later on. Conversation's code for I'm about to let you down, you're losing your job.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, we better move on. But you deserve credit for what you've pushed out tonight. I appreciate you guessing along the way. Yep, cheers. That's us, folks. Thanks for tuning in to Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief, live with Leicester's Oil. The premium New Zealand-made fish oil supplement backed by a study support joint heart, brain health. About Health have a $500 Pro Health Pack giveaway running in October with all the orders going in the draw to win. Now you can use the code Duncan for 10% off and an extra entry. Abouthealth.co.nz. Take as directed. Read the label. About Health Auckland.
Duncan Garner, live.
0800 999 309. Stand by the phone. They are standing by the phone. They're right there for you. There's that corporate speak. If you call, they'll answer. Here we go. That's us. This will be available as a podcast on Rover shortly or wherever you get your podcast. It's sort of podcast speak, isn't it? Thanks for your feedback and support. I'm Duncan at rover.nz. To my team, Isaac and Forrester and Lockie. Thank you, guys. I mean, do the accountants know there's three of you in here now? I'm really worried about this. We need to hide one of you under the desk. Three of you. I mean, I pride myself on, lean times. And what have we got here? Anyway, thank you, guys. We'll do it again, of course, tomorrow. Remember, life's no dress rehearsal. There's no curtain raiser. This is it. We live in one of the best places on earth. So get out, enjoy it. Have a great rest of the night. Thank you, TikTok. We'll catch you tomorrow. Take care.
That was Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief, live. Missed something on the live stream? Text Duncan to 3598 to listen back on the podcast. Want to get in touch? Call 0800 863 293.